In the section introduction, I mentioned that the goal of this section is to introduce a few new tools that are going to make it possible for our applications to function in a wider range of browsers, like much older browsers that don't support the newer features we're taking advantage of in this modern JavaScript bootcamp. Now, in this video, we're not going to talk about the specific tools that we'll be setting up. That starts in the next one. What I want to do is illustrate an example of this cross-browser incompatibility. This video is all about exploring the problem. The rest of the section is all about the solution. Let's kick things off with a really easy one. We're going to head over to the browser and Google MDN const. So we're going to pull up the documentation page for const. If we do that, what do we get? We get what we expect. We get a page that describes how to use const. But if we go all the way down to the bottom of these documentation pages, what we get is a browser compatibility table. Now, const is a modern JavaScript feature, but it's one of the older ones. So while it is new, it's not that new. And down below, we can see that we can use const in a wide range of browsers. Here we have all of our desktop browsers, it's supported there. Here we have all of our mobile browsers, supported there as well. So if we are thinking about using const in our program, we're not going to run into any issues. If someone is running the application in Safari on a Mac, it's going to work. If someone is running it on Internet Explorer on a Windows 7 computer, it's going to work there as well. And this is good. Now let's go ahead and explore one more documentation page, this time for the class syntax. So MDN class should get us there. And if I head over to that page, once again, we are just looking for the browser compatibility table near the bottom. And if I get to it, we can see this one is much more complex. Here we have 4 separate rows. We have the basic support, then we have support for the constructor and for extends. So the class feature is a bit more complex than the const feature, so the browser compatibility table is a bit more complex as well. The reason I brought you here, though, the important thing to note is that we no longer have green across the board. This time, we have a clear no. So Internet Explorer does not support the class syntax even in the latest version of IE. That means if someone were to try to run a program that relied on the class syntax, like our Hangman game, it would actually fail. The visitor isn't going to know why the application failed for them. They're probably just going to think the application is broken. They're probably not going to assume that it has something to do with the browser they're using. So this browser incompatibility for a feature is going to be a big problem for us. If we want to write modern JavaScript code and have our applications work everywhere, we are going to need to introduce a bit of tooling. The tooling that we're going to introduce is going to solve those 2 key problems. The first problem, older browsers are never going to update to support these newer features. So if we want to use them, which we do, we have to figure out a way to work around that, which we're going to. The second problem is that there are newer JavaScript features out there that currently aren't supported by any browser, even the latest and greatest. So the tooling that we're going to set up is going to solve that problem too, allowing us to use the most advanced, cutting-edge features in the language. I am super excited to dive into this section, and now that we know about the problem, browser incompatibility, we're going to go ahead and dive into the solution. Let's go ahead and jump right in to the next one.